and over here. If you guys have any questions, I could paint and talk too, so I'd be happy to answer any.
Is that phthalo blue or phthalo green?
Doesn't matter. I use the phthalo green, but phthalo blue or phthalo green will get you out of trouble. And there is a phthalo red, which I've never used, which sounds really interesting. You got blue eyes, right?
For the background, did you use the green, or was it kind of the leftover paint on the palette mixed with green?
This background?
Yeah.
That's actually acrylic.
Okay.
And I think I used ivory black, yellow, white, and a little green. I don't have a formula for for backgrounds, but I like that color. And I actually like the color of Robin's background here. This still needs tweaking because I have too many light areas, but I wanted the light coming over here. And I needed light to contrast that side of her face. And I think at this point, I'm going to put a dark pupil in and then start taking a little bit of more accurate measurements. I think the pupil would probably rest about there, and this one would probably rest about there. Okay, that's not bad. Now let me just take a couple measurements and see what time I got. Oh, I don't have much time. Okay, let me just see what that, the distance of the eyes and mouth, okay. And then the mouth. Oh, I got the mouth in about the right place. I'm going to put the mouth in real quick. Just a line. I'll use a little alizarin crimson and sap green. Just to, a little more alizarin crimson than the sap. But I want to get the shadows right. And now my hands will be a mess if I start using this. Okay.
You're a genius, Judy. I never would have thought of it.
Yeah. Sure. My invention. I sell them for $10 in the hallway. Okay. Now, right now, I'm not using the right color for marking spots, but in the interest of time, I want to get her features in here, and whatever I got in my hand is going to be it. Oh, you got a witch's nose now. I got to get rid of that right away. Or you'd be mad at me.
Never.
Cute little nose. I should make it bigger. Be good to me. Oh, this is such fun. You guys who've never tried portraiture have no idea. This is so much fun. I mean, she doesn't look like Rita, but she's somebody that's looking at me. And I like it. I'll mix in some sap green and alizarin crimson. And I just want to get the shape of her face a little better. Since you're smiling, it's a little fuller. I'm going to move this, that's it. Okay. And I do teach portraits in acrylic in the museum. My classes are always filled right away, so I must be doing something right. But I do demos for private parties and art parties and stuff like that too. I will give myself a plug. But I can only do so much. Can't do what I used to do. Okay, your neck has changed. So that I would have to readjust. Okay, now I'm going to adjust the eyes a little more. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to have time to show you how to do an eye, but the principle is
You got lots
this.
of time, Judy.
Well, 8:30, right? Where are you, Sue?
Here,
Oh,
we don't have to be out the door till 9, so take.
oh, okay. All right, well then, maybe in about 10 minutes, I'll let you take a break. I brought another canvas. I'll do a big eye for you guys so you can see how to do an eye. And if you don't learn anything else, you could just paint eyes all the time.
Hey Judy, give
Yeah.
us those colors you use for skin color.
This is burnt sienna, which I added a little cad red to. And this I added little blue, little sap green, just to get a different shadow around the eyes, because the eyes have a grayer or a purpler tone to them, and especially under the eye. With the skin, I started with cad orange and white. I had put a little yellow in there just to demonstrate for you the baby skin and Asian skin. But you can see I have different colors here because I just grabbed the orange and white. I didn't mix it up that good. I like the rough look. I like it to look painterly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to just paint your eyeballs. Let me just see. Oh, really blue, yeah. Okay. She's got really blue eyes, so I'm going to take cobalt blue. Cobalt blue. And I want a dark value. I'm going to take a little bit of olive green. Calm that cobalt blue down. And then I'm going to make a slightly lighter value. Oh, that's pretty blue.
Want to lift it up a little bit because they can't see it. See, they.
Oh,
And that's it.
oh, you can see it there. Oh, sure. I've been trying to show them in the audience this way. But that's a good idea. Thank you, Rita. Okay, calm that blue down a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to paint one of her eyes. And she's got the heavy lid.
Careful.
She has a wonderfully sexy, droopy lid that I'm going to try to capture, but that will be after. And an important thing to pay attention to is how the eyeball sits in the eye. You don't want to make the whole eyeball showing like her. I mean, unless somebody is looking at you like this. Usually the upper lid covers some of it, and sometimes the lower lid covers some of it. And that's one of the mistakes that a lot of, budding artists make. They don't really pay attention to the anatomy. You have to keep looking at your subject. Yeah, I have some students that paint, and then they look up and doesn't look anything like it, whatever they're painting. You have to look up and down and up and down. And the closer, if you're painting from a photo or you have a plant you're painting, have it close to you, or at least close to your canvas. When I paint a portrait, if I have several photos of somebody and I'm painting a portrait, I have rigged up with a foam board something that comes all the way around me like this. It attaches to the back, and then I have clips with all the pictures hanging down. Now there's usually one pose that I need that I pick from that, but there's other aspects to the facial anatomy that I'll need for color or almost to look into their soul. Maybe one picture doesn't show something about the person that another one does. So I like to have several photos, and especially if they passed on. It's really important to try to capture the essence of who they were. I actually like the challenge of that, because I feel like I'm giving the family something that is priceless. And I've done that several times, and it feels really good, because they always say, oh my God, it looks just like her, I don't know how you did it, but, they give me several different photos, maybe different ages, and it just works. I think after you paint for a while, and if you really connect with your, if you have the ability to connect with who you're painting, some divine inspiration comes sometimes, and suddenly, everything just comes into place. When that happens, it doesn't happen all the time, but when that happens, it's like, it's not just a good day, it's a good week. Now, everything's subject to change and to moving. I'm putting her eyeball in now, but I'm not liking, I'm going to mix Prussian blue. Is that Prussian? Oh, no wonder I had the wrong color. Prussian blue with alizarin crimson. That will give me a real, real rich red. If you're working with portraits in acrylic, and you do the pupil in black, if you glaze it over with a little alizarin crimson, it just gives it a depth of a hole. Because actually, your pupils are just a hole into your retina, which sends the information to your brain. It's not a flat black thing. And if you give it the depth it really needs, it'll look so much more lifelike. I'm not blocking it, okay.
So it was cobalt for one eye and Russian blue for the other one?
Pardon?
You said cobalt blue for the first eye, and now it's Prussian blue?
No, the Prussian blue and the alizarin crimson was for the pupil.
Oh, sorry.
The cobalt blue and I put a little bit of olive green for the iris. And now I'm going to put a little glow on there. But before I do that, I think I have to raise her bottom lid, because that's bothering me. It's too droopy. You don't have droop. Okay. This. For the little detail, we really need this. You gotta look at me. See that eye. Okay. Now, when I cover the canvas, finally, with all my paint, I like to put them in my kitchen, actually, because that's where I am a lot of the time. I put a lined pad in front of it, and as I walk by, I think, oh, that eye needs moving to the left, and I write that down. Or, that color is wrong, that shadow needs to move. When you're in the passionate process of doing this at this stage, you just want to get the paint on there, have a good time, and worry about the details later. And it's very hard to just stand there like this and say, oh, well, the chin has to move, the ear, But if you have it in your kitchen, you walk around the house and you don't see it for an hour, and then you see it all of a sudden, you got a pad in front of it, that is the best way to intelligently know what you have to correct. And then what I do, I'm very organized, then what I do, after I've done this for a while and I'm ready to go back to this painting, it could even be dry by then, I consolidate it. Everything that has to do with the eye, I rewrite everything, so that while I'm doing that right eye, everything that has to be changed is going to be changed then. And I can move the paint around and make my corrections and nail that eye. And if it's the nose, I separate it in all different categories. Because you don't want to say, the first thing I saw on Monday was I need to make the lid better. And then on Thursday, I put down the bottom something else about that same eye. You're better off doing everything all at once. Okay. Oops. That was a mistake. Okay. I'm gonna do your lid. Just droop that lid a little bit, that little sexy lid. It's not that droopy. I went too far. Let's see. And as far as wrinkles go, you're better off painting the dark dark areas, especially these wrinkles here, I hate to see artists paint each wrinkle. That's kind of insulting to the model.
I agree.
Yes. And don't count them. But I'll put a darker area there, you know, smudge it on nicely, and then you paint the rise of the wrinkle, not the valley, the hill of the wrinkle. And it makes such a softer wrinkle. So just keep that in mind if you're ever painting wrinkles. Not that it applies to you. And if you're doing a portrait of somebody and they have a bit of an off eye or something's crooked, straighten it out a little bit. I mean, you don't have to do everything perfect. No, be kind. Because, you know, we all see ourselves in the mirror different than we actually look. When Robin came over the other night, I had to take more pictures of her because I had a couple of things I couldn't get right, and I used my iPhone. And she said, "Ma, I really take an awful picture." The pictures I used to do that, because she did not model, they weren't bad. You got to take them at a distance because that bird's eye lens makes everybody's nose bigger. Well, I got right up to her because I wanted the full face. Oh my God, I got to delete them because she'll kill me. They're so awful. I couldn't even use them. Just a little bit of detail for the eye because they were very bad. There's nothing like painting from a model. And you get much more accurate from a model. All right, I'm going to show you a little something with the eye. I'm going to do it small now, and then I'm going to run over and get that other canvas and do a big one for you. Now I have a dark pupil, and I have the white of the eye. And now I am going to give her a little glow, and I need a tiny little brush. The principle of this is the iris is like a liquid. You know, the covering, I forget what they call it, covering over the eye is clear, and there's liquid underneath, and then there's the iris, and then there's pupil. Well, the light comes through, it crisps up on the outside of the eye, goes through the liquid, and then illuminates a bowl underneath, the colored bowl of the iris. And that's what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to take a little bit of this with a little white. Oh, the blue and white I should do. And if you're doing a portrait big enough, when I do blue eyes, I like to do a lavender light or more of a pinky light at the bottom. Now, my light's coming from about 10:30. I think I'll put the crisp light on the outside of the cornea. You can't see that on her, but I know enough that it makes such a big difference when you do this. Can you see that? Now watch when I put the light at the bottom, and this eye isn't even shaped good yet. But when you put the light that goes through that liquid and put a little light on the bottom, can you see that? It just brings it right to life. And I'm going to put a little more red on that pupil and see if I can't glaze, get that real deep hole in the eye that the pupil is. And when you're painting an eye, also remember there is shadows just under the lid on that eyeball. And the glow on the bottom of the iris is diffused. There we go. All right, Rita, you want to take a breather, and I'll get the other canvas, and I'll do a big eye for you guys. Okay, this is just gonna be, whoops, Oops, am I all right? Am I still on? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you got it?
I was beginning like it, yeah. It will eventually,
Sure it
maybe
will.
in a couple of months when I have time. You have to sit with me, we'll drink. Oops, I need this way.
Are you gonna do an eye?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do an eye, so if you wanna
I'll
stretch your
watch.
legs or walk around, whatever. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little, raw umber or burnt umber, I don't even know what I have here. And just draw a nice little eye. Usually I do the exercise, in my classes. This is the orbit, and the eye is this, and the eyeball is this shape. But I'm just going to do a regular old eye for you guys. And I'll do a brown eye, because I'm doing blue eyes on Rita. I think I need a bigger brush. I'll use this one. Get her done. Okay, I'm going to take a little brown here, maybe burnt sienna. Get that eyeball on there. This is just a cheap canvas, so I'll paint right over it. Okay, there's the eye. I'll take a little blue. I think I'll hold this up here so you can see. I guess you can't. Well, I'll take a little blue and brown and white. See, I'm not being fussy. A little oil, because this is getting a little sticky.
What that was?
Linseed
oil?
Linseed oil, yeah. Some people use other kinds of oil, but this is the way I learned, so. I started a plein air group in Connecticut. That's how I met Rita. She joined my group. I started it so I could learn how to paint from the better painters in Clinton, Connecticut. And I still have some of the same habits that my friend Bob Langer taught me. He's still in Connecticut, poor boy. Aren't we lucky? Love Florida, love it. Me and my husband pinch each other every time we think about it. It's paradise here. I was trying to make everybody move here for a while, and I thought, oh wait, I don't want all these people here. Stay home. Okay, I'm going to do, I'm going to put an eyeball in there. I hope I have Prussian blue here. Sometimes, this is freezer paper that I put on top here. And once you put it in here, it could store for a long time, and then you just rip it off. I used to put my paint on pallets, and it's such a pain in the neck to clean. I stopped that pretty soon. So now I'm taking Prussian blue, put that pupil in there like this. I'm going to give you a nice big sample of that principle I just showed you, and put a little alizarin crimson in there, get some nice depth in there. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, I'm going to take a little of that brown that I just used right here. A little darker brown at the top because there's a shadow where the lid is. So it's a little darker. Take a little of this. This is burnt sienna. And I always like to make, if I'm doing an eyeball big, if the painting is big, or I'm doing a demo, I always like to make it a little more exciting, bump it up a little bit. Throw a little green in here and there. It just gives it a little more interest. See that? A little more interesting than just plain old brown. And if you look close at people's brown eyes, a lot of them have a little green in it anyways. And then there's always like a darker outline. I'm going to mix a little blue with the brown. There's always a darker ridge outline on the iris. Gives it a little definition. And this, it looks nice, but I like once I finish, once I'm farther along with the portrait, I'll smooth that, make it a soft, even though it's darker, it'll be a softer transition to the white of the eye. Okay, and see how dark that white of that eye is? Well, now you want to lighten it up down here. Lighten it up a little more. And I'm going to need a little more light, a little more white. Oops. You always put a little more white on your palette than any other color, because it seems that that's the color you use the most of. Oops, I'm getting a little tangled here. I'm going to put this in my pocket. Okay, let's get a little more white on here. Get some of that gray off. And I want you guys to see how realistic it is and the technique. Okay, now I'm going to do the crisp light. I'm dirty another brush. Okay, this will be at, say, 1 o'clock, right about here. And a lot of the masters put this crisp light in with real thick paint. And usually there's not just one light. If you look at a light in someone's eyes, there's a lot of different lights. But this is just a formula that works when you're doing a portrait. I've seen artists, you know, do paintings of people that are standing outside and they put the tree in the eye and everything. It's just too painful. I can't be bothered. Too painful. Okay, now, at the bottom, where the glow should be, instead of using white and brown, I'm going to use orange. Now the glow is always opposite that crisp light that hits the outside of the cornea. So the orange goes right in here like this, and I might have to wipe a little off to get some of that brown off so I can get a really nice orange glow. So here we go. Never just put white with brown, because you know you end up with pink. Now see that glow, how that comes alive? Now, I think I'm going to put a little more green in there, and a little white maybe. Let's see what that does. Just make it a little, bump it up a little bit. Make it an interesting eye. Okay? So basically that's the principle. If this was a blue eye, and you know, if it's a small eye, you can hardly even see it. But if it's a blue eye, I'd do the same thing, but I'd put a little lavender, a little purple, or a little pink in that glow. If I had just put white in there, it would be dead. White and black are dead colors. So I try to stay away from them as much as possible. That's why I almost never even use black for the pupil. Okay, Rita, you around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, this is done. And of course, you put the eyelashes in, and the lid, and a little shadow here, and eyelashes, and the calyx, or whatever they call it, right over here. With a little bit of light coming off it, you know, like so. But if you remember this principle, it will be so easy to make realistic eyes. My students who paint animals or people, people who look at their work always compliment the eyes, and that's because they learned it from me.
Can you just repeat, with blue you put for the glow is what, purple and?
You could put purple, you could put a little bit of alizarin with white. Just try another color like that in the reds or the blues. But don't just put white on, if you do a blue, if you mix a blue, don't just put white underneath it. Add a little something else to zing it up. You can see how that really worked with the orange. Rita, I'm ready for you. Okay.
No, 5 more minutes.
Oh, that's it? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm having so much fun. You said it was going to be a long time.
I said we have to be gone by 9.
We have to go, we got 10 minutes, Sue?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, oh, 5 minutes. Okay, can you do
Well, I
that in
have-
5 minutes?
I'll have to work real fast. Well, I want to show at least how to reduce mistakes with the background. Okay, I'm going to trowel some stuff on here so that you could get a general idea. I'm going to trowel some, this is how you, as you move along, let's see which one's sap green here. Oh, one of the nicer backgrounds is sap green and alizarin crimson. And sometimes I put the background in like this. And this particular background stays wet. They have very wet properties. This is alizarin crimson and sap green. And they stay wet for a long time, so you can move it around, or you could wipe some off with a paper towel that gives a really interesting, or a rag, really, really interesting effect. You can see a little bit of the canvas weave come up. So I'm going to take a big brush like this, mix it all. Look at that rich brown. That is a beautiful brown. I'll add a little more. Well, I don't have any more sap left, so I'll use olive green. All right. I think I need more green. I'm going to take any green I can get. But I want to reduce her, get some kind of a visual of the shape of her face. So you need to straighten up. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. Like that. That's it. I'm going to smaller brush now. But see how you could make the shape change so much easier by just putting the background in. And a lot of artists that work that I admire, they leave all this stuff real rough up here, and it works for them. And it just looks a little untidy to me sometimes when I do it, but when they do it, I like it. And then this fan brush is a great brush to have because this could blend everything in so nicely. It's great for backgrounds. Once you trowel on all your paint, and it's nice in the background. You add a little different colors like orange. If I wanted some light coming in the background here, of course you have light coming this way, but it doesn't mean that it can't shine on the background. And orange makes a really wonderful lighter area for this particular technique of a background. See that beautiful glow? If I added white instead of the orange, it would be pink, it would be ugly. But the orange, and when you blend it down in, look at how beautiful that color is. I'm running out of orange, so I can't do too much more there. But we're winding to a close now, I guess. I hope you learned a little something. Are we done? Do I have to stop now? Can I go more?
25 up.
Yeah.
25.
25 up, we
How
got.
long it takes you to pack up?
Yeah, it does take a while. Well, thank you for coming, and
Now you have to finish me someday.
this is really rough.
Okay, what can I help you with?
I don't know yet.
If I can wrap your brushes up?
A paint. I like Grumbacher, Winsor Newton. There's Doan's. I forget his name. There's a guy who mixes his own paint in New York City. It is really. It is. Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, and you can find me on YouTube painting a whole portrait.
She adapts to any atmosphere.
She did good, huh? Really did
That's
good.
not bad.
Not bad.
Really, look at you, she's coming alive.
I'm sure it will look like me. I know that.
You can't go by that.
I know.
That's you, girl. That's you. That's you.
There's an S, what was projected in the,
Yeah, you can see, you know what, once she came in right in
what was
there.
projected on the screen is like a
Look at the shadow. Look at the shadow in here. She looks like an old Italian lady. doesn't she? She looks like an old Italian lady.
That's hers. It's Rita's.
Yeah.
But you wanted to wait till you.
I know. I knew it was there. Thank you. Okay, I wrapped your brushes up. Okay?
Oh, thanks, yeah.
And oh, you should put this in there.
All right.
Well, we can wrap it up. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I do because it looks so alive and so
You
liquid.
saw how easy it was.
I did.
It looks
I
great.
did.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
What, the eye?
No.
Oh, this?
Looks great, I think.
Oh, the model is good.
There you go. And not a wrinkle.
What?
I
really want to see that finish. Yeah.